Hey Heather, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's been a really long time since I've read Harry Potter. I've actually never reread it. I've watched all the movies, and I've watched all the movies a few times, but this will be my first time rereading Harry Potter, and I'm really excited that we're doing it via the illustrated version. In an effort to share a few of my thoughts for chapter 1, I think one of the biggest things that I'm noticing is that I didn't remember Dudley being such an ass. I mean, I know he was, but I'm hating him so much. I feel like because I often marathon through the movies, maybe over time you kind of start to develop this empathy for him, but in chapter 1, he's such an ass. I'm also realizing that there's just a crap ton of detail, and obviously for the most part the book always tends to be better, but because I've watched the movie so often, I had forgot the amount of detail that is actually in the book just in the first chapter alone. So those are my thoughts on chapter 1. Hey Heather, so I finished chapter 2, and if you recall, that's when they go to the zoo and the glass vanishes, because Harry's using his magic. But them Dursleys, they treat Harry so terrible. Not just by bad, but terrible. I'm happy that Duddykins at least gets a little bit of what's coming to him, and I don't remember if Dudley's friend was actually in the movie. Do you recall? That's just something that had me thinking. Well, Harry's speaking his snake language, and at least he's starting to stand up to Dudley a little bit, just a tiny bit. Hey Heather, so I finished chapter 3, and this is when the letters start to arrive, and I'm not gonna lie, it makes me really happy that Vernon is just so upset about these letters, and that he doesn't want, I hate that he doesn't want Harry to get them, but I'm glad they piss him off, and he's obviously trying to keep an eye on what's going on because he knows something's weird is going on, but dude, they shouldn't have to send that many letters. There's no reason for Harry not to get his letter. Just give him his goddamn letter already. Hey Heather, so I just finished chapter 4. It is The Keeper of the Keys, and it's when Hagrid finally shows up. And listen, he ain't taking no shit from those Dursleys. None. What's really, really sad though is that here's Hagrid is gonna bring Harry his letter. He's telling him all this information, and Harry just cannot. He's you must be mistaken. I can't be special. How could I be? And and then he finally learns the truth about his parents, which was a long time coming, but he still has a really hard time just processing that. He's just been so abused that he cannot fathom that he's special in any way, and that is fucking heartbreaking.
Hey Heather, so I'm finishing up Harry Potter chapter 5, the Sorcerer's Stone, and there's a part where it mentions that Hagrid is knitting some yellow thing the size of a tent. Do you remember this part? I don't remember anything about Hagrid knitting. I don't, literally nothing, and I'm finding it really funny just imagining him sitting there actually knitting. But it's such a pleasant reminder of why Hagrid is so awesome. He's just so sweet, and I really love how much he cares for animals and how passionate he is about them. And the knitting is just the cherry on top. I guess it's the fact that we wouldn't normally consider this a manly thing to do, and also I love it because at one point I wanted to take up knitting, and so I decided to go to a knitting class, and I asked my husband to come with me, and he had no objections whatsoever. He said, sure, let's go, let's do it. And I think he was actually better at it than I was. It was just so wonderful to see him just doing it, not having any issues with it, not having any insecurities about it. He just sat next to me, he had his needle, he had his yarn, and he was doing it way better than I was. And that memory for me is just really emotional. so Hagrid and knitting, I love it. So they end up in the leaky cauldron, and I think it's really funny that Harry is treated like this celebrity, and I get it, like, he survived something, but to Harry, that has to be so weird, because he doesn't remember that. So having all these people be like, oh my god, it's an honor, it's such an honor to meet you, it has to be so weird for Harry to be introduced to this world that he had no idea even existed. And these people are kind of going bonkers, and they've known about him his whole life. And so, I don't know, that's just kind of funny. I'm not sure I feel all that comfortable meeting one of my future instructors at a bar in this place I've never been to before. But, yeah, so anyway, so after the whole bar ordeal, they go to Gringotts, and there's this little poem here, which I love. Like, I love it when authors put these little tidbits and limericks within their writing. And it says, every stranger but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but do not earn must pay most dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned, beware of finding more than treasure there. As they get into the cart to go to Harry's vault, they're going through the caverns or the cave or whatever, and Hagrid starts getting a little queasy, and while that's happening, Harry's like, hey, what's the difference between stalactites and stalagmites? And Hagrid's like, one has an M. And I read that, and I was just like, what? And I took a really long time to think about the shape of the stalactites and the stalagmites, and I was like, an M, and yeah, an M. So Harry is in his shop at the moment, and he's talking to whom I assume is Malfoy, and they're talking about Hagrid, and Harry says, he's the gameskeeper. And then he's like, I was liking the boy less and less. And then the boy responds, yes, exactly, I heard he's sort of a savage. Lives in a hut on the school grounds, and every now and then he gets drunk, tries to do magic, and ends up setting fire to his bed. And, like, really? What are we talking about? Why are we talking about Hagrid like that? So I got to the part with the whippy wands, and, I had always remembered that there was, like, phoenix feather and unicorn hair and, dragon heartstring or whatever in the wands, but it wasn't until just recently where I took the wand quiz on Pottermore. I can't even tell you what I got off the top of my head, but there was a reference to, I think, my wand being rigid, to it not being very flexible, and so I find it interesting to see the mention of all the wand's flexibilities as Harry was trying each wand. So, obviously one was whippy, another was springy, and then another one was flexible. So of course all of those things mean different things. And if you haven't already taken the wand quiz on Pottermore, then I would strongly suggest doing it. Vox me what your results were, and I can tell you what mine were. Anyway, so those are pretty much all my thoughts on chapter 5.